Good morning, televiewers of My Media Prime Television. You're on to your favorite bilingual program, The Brief, which is always dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. On today's edition of the program, the newspapers are focusing on the measures taken by some governors in ensuring hitch-free academic year 2022-2023 in their areas of command. We shall equally tell you how much the government of the Republic of Cameroon is losing each year when it comes to revenue generated from medical or legal medical certificates, consultations, as well as mortuary bills. We shall tell you more as the Ministry of Public Health of the country has revealed that the government is losing over 700 billion francs CFA each year to these things that we've talked about in the papers this morning. And equally, some individuals or armed men reportedly shot and killed several travelers yesterday along the Kumba route in the southwest region of the country, the Boya Kumba route. The passengers who were returning from Douala, they were shot in a 19-seater bus, and many of them died, according to information that some newspapers are telling us this morning. The armed men are having traces of Ambazonia fighters, as per what the newspapers are saying this morning. Gwladys Bomotonguina is here. Let's have the headlines in the French language newspapers. Bonjour Gwladys.
Bonjour Lasha. Bonjour à vous fidèles téléspectateurs de My Media Prime Télévision. Merci de nous retrouver pour cette autre édition de Debrief, votre émission bilingue de revue de presse. Alors ce matin, nous débutons avec le journal bleu, le journal Le Jour. Le journal Le Jour qui nous parle, lui, en grand titre des diversités au Cameroun. Le journal pose la question de savoir pourquoi les vastes superficies de palmeraie inquiètent-elles dans ce pays. Des organisations de la société civile s'alarment donc à cet effet. Les détails sont en page 2 et 3 du journal Le Jour ce matin. À sa page 5, le journal nous parle de la région anglophone, rentrée scolaire timide. De nombreux parents sont décidés à renvoyer leurs enfants à l'école dans un contexte de renforcement des mesures sécuritaires. Toujours dans le même journal Le Jour, à sa page 6, le journal nous parle des chiffres de production de pétrole en 2021 au Cameroun. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous poursuivons ce matin avec Mutation Quotidien. Mutation Quotidien nous parle, lui, en grand titre du ciment au Cameroun. Le mirage Mira, c'est du moins le grand titre de Mutation Quotidien ce matin. La revue à la baisse du prix par cette société cache mal la cherté entretenue par les principaux cimentiers de la place. Le ministère du Commerce est donc impuissant face à cette situation. Les détails sont en page 9 de Mutation Quotidien ce matin. À sa page 6, le journal nous parle de produits alimentaires au Cameroun. Le Minsanté met donc de l'ordre. Nous continuons ce matin avec le Messager. Le Messager parle en grand titre du scandale financier. La nouvelle affaire de Sambende, la première phase de l'apparument des arriérés de droits d'auteur fait donc grincer les dents au sein de la Sonacam. Les détails sont en page 1 du journal Le Messager ce matin. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous clôturons avec Émergence. Émergence au quotidien parle en grand titre d'exploitation minière au Cameroun. 15% des diamants produits à l'est de ce pays sont non tracés. C'est du moins ce que nous révèle le journal Émergence quotidien ce matin à sa page 5. À sa page 4, le journal nous parle de fraude à l'électricité au Cameroun. 162 faux électriciens ont été arrêtés à cet effet. Facture impayée, Camwater réclame donc 10 milliards de francs CFA à l'État camerounais. Les États sont donc en page 3 d'Émergence quotidien ce matin. À sa page 2, le journal nous parle de mines. Sinotil qui décroche donc le tout premier permis d'exploitation de minerais de fer au Cameroun. Mesdames, Messieurs, voilà pour vos titres ce matin en langue française. Place à la découverte des titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Gwladys Bomotonguina. Let's kickstart this morning with the Lone English Daily, The Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post this morning is telling us that some suspected Ambazonia fighters have attacked bus, killed at least 4 passengers. The incident happened, according to the paper, along the Buea-Kumba highway yesterday, and at least 4 persons were yesterday killed along the Kumba-Buea route, other by gunmen suspected to be Ambazonia separatist fighters. They attacked a 19-seater bus plying that stretch of road and leaving at least 4 persons dead and several others wounded. You can read more on page 4 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper, talking about the sad incident yesterday along the Buea-Kumba road, where a 19-seater bus was attacked by men believed to be Ambazonia separatist fighters. We continue to talk other issues. This time around, the measure taken by the governor of the West Region, Awafonka Augustine, to ensure hitch-free school year in the West Region. Governor Awafonka Augustine prescribes strict security on campuses. The governor, according to the paper, the governor of the West Region, Awafonka Augustine, has prescribed a strict screening of students at the entrance of all school campuses in the region in order to avoid incidents within the school milieu. The administrator was speaking during the special flag hoisting ceremony to kickstart the 2022-2023 academic year on the campus of Government High School GHS Banjul in Kunki Division of the West Region. That was on Monday, September 5, 2022. More details on page 4 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. As kidney patients protest, Buea Regional Hospital Director laments shortage of dialysis machine. The director of the regional hospital annex in Buea, Dr. Martin Mukake, has described the insufficiency of dialysis machines at the Buea Health Facility. The medical doctor was speaking following a protest by over 120 kidney patients who had gone for almost a week without undergoing their dialysis session. You can read more in this edition of the said newspaper. That's page 9 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper that you can find on your newspaper kiosk this morning across the national territory. We leave the Guardian Post newspaper now. We are with Municipal Updates newspaper. Municipal Updates is focusing on what the mayor of Womb Council has done to assist some worker or some young persons in his area of command. Womb Council offers multi-million package to 204 holiday workers in that part of the country. The money was given to those who took part in the holiday job at the level of that council recently. 204 of them benefited from the gesture of the mayor. And let's talk decentralization drive. Over 5,000 new jobs to be created in councils nationwide. This revelation was made recently by decentralization minister, as we are told over 5,000 new jobs to be created in councils nationwide. And let's talk about this other headline, this time around with Le Quotidien Eco Santé newspaper, which is focusing on what the state of Cameroon loses each year when it comes to the issuance of medical or legal certificates, consultations, and mortuary bills. The paper tells us that over 700 billion francs CFA is lost each year in the form of revenue that is generated or being generated in the insurance or the issuance of those documents, as well as consultations and mortuary bills. The revelation was made recently by the Ministry of Public Health of the country during a meeting in Yaoundé. Patients on dialysis at the Buea Regional Hospital decry the deplorable state of the machines at the hemodialysis center. They were protesting in Buea recently after they've gone for close to a week without undergoing their session or kidney session dialysis, as we are told. You can read more on page 9 of this edition of Eco Santé newspaper. We are back, televiewers of My Media Prime Television, to continue with our discussions this morning. And while we await the arrival of Alex Ngepi, we joined this morning equally by Maître Alex Ndive on the line to UK, Gwladys Bomotonguina.
Effectivement, Maître Alex Ndive, c'est par vous que nous commençons ce matin. On va parler de la rentrée scolaire parce que nous sommes dans le feu de l'action. Le journal Le Jour nous révèle ce matin, Maître Alex, que la rentrée dans la partie du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest des Camerounais est en mode timide.
Good morning, Mr. Lasha. Good morning, Gwladys. I must first raise this concern about the lack of dialysis machine in the part of, is it Southwest region or other parts of Cameroon? It is not good enough for a doctor or a government to come and say, we don't have enough machine and patients, they cannot have their treatment. Indirectly, the government could be charged of manslaughter because these people, they need those machines. It's not a matter of if, they need it right now as I'm talking. That is part of an irresponsible government. It is very important that the government should listen to me. People should not go and protest because they need dialysis machine. It should be there. That is why people pay tax. And secondly, I would also like to use this your platform to say, decentralization does not create jobs. Decentralization means devolving power. So people should stop giving misleading headlines in newspaper like the municipal. You devolve power. And if there are competent people somewhere, they can create jobs. Decentralization by itself doesn't create any job. That is a misleading headline. Now, to answer your question, Gwladys, to go back to school, it is very important that those who are disrupting school, be whether you call yourself what name, it is very important to know if you claim you're fighting war, you have to follow the rules of war. There are rules of war, you should go and read it. There is something called war crime. During a situation of conflict in a country, if you attack educational institution, you are in violation of international humanitarian law, which constitutes a war crime. Civilians have got nothing to do with your war when it comes to education. Also, the Geneva Convention also talk about safe passage. If you're fighting between the government and the paramilitary, a civilian is coming, you have to stop and give them safe passage. If you attack them, it's a war crime. And I'm just saying this, I understand, as somebody who understands the plight of the Anglophone, somebody who is still fighting for it using non-violent means. I'm telling you, these guys, if you want to fight war, war is legal and you have to educate yourself. Don't attack civilians. There's something we call civil disobedience. We used to do it in the early 90s. You don't harm anyone. You're allowed not to follow certain laws or orders from the government in a non-violent way. They call it civil disobedience. You cannot say you're fighting for Anglophones, then you're killing your own brothers and sisters. The population will not be behind you. In the early 90s, when we were fighting, we were using civil disobedience. The people were happy to follow Ghost Town. You cannot force people to fight for them. Nobody have mandated you to fight.
Maître Alex, peut-être c'est parce qu'ils veulent faire la promotion de leur école de communauté.
There is always a means to fight. While I understand that the government of Cameroon is not good enough, but there is still a way that you can fight about your school and follow certain means and seek for lawyers and advisors to see how you can challenge the government stopping the community school. There are always means. I know it's very difficult. People think in Cameroon, the courts, if you go there, the courts are not fair. But if you're firm, you understand the law, you use experienced lawyer, I believe you can always challenge the government. You don't need to use violence to get what you want. And once as you're using violence, it means you're using force to ask people to do certain things that they don't want to do. So at the end of the day, you're not fighting for the people. If you're fighting for the people, you have to respect the people and you have to stand for what they believe. I believe in non-violent revolution. I believe we can change things without chasing people using violence.
Maître Alex, yesterday a 19-seater bus was attacked along the Boya Kumba road, leading at least 4 persons were killed in that sad incident. And we are reading in the papers that those who attacked the said bus, they were suspected Ambazonia fighters.
I will tell you clearly that the Minister of Defense, Mr. Betty Asomo, Mr. Tangaji of Minad, and the head of the police force in Cameroon, they were the one promoting a couple of days ago that the security all over, people should go back to school. If you're a government, you're giving your words that they will not attack people and they kill people. You're part of that problem, the government of the Cameroons. Why I condemn these people who are killing people, attacking them? I've already talked about a possible war crime by attacking educational institutions, by not giving safe passage to civilians. Take note, students are civilians. You don't need to attack them. And if you want to be a genuine fighter, as they call themselves, you should read the law, the Geneva Convention, the war on war crimes. You should read all those things before you fight war. You cannot do something when you don't know what you're doing and just attack people without following the rules of war. So I will blame the government too, because I always say this, the government, the job of a government is to maintain law and order, is to protect and bring national security, is to enforce law. So when they are killing people on your street, only a foolish government will come and be criticizing the people who are committing the crime. You cannot, there's no country on earth that a government will come
but we've often seen some Anglophones and those who are in the diaspora claiming genocide in court whenever the government acts on very extreme cases where students are shot and killed in schools and other areas. When government intervene and acts in a very hard way, we often hear words like, genocide, you are killing our people.
The point is, people can talk. There is a government, there is a civilian. So if somebody is shouting genocide, they don't even know the meaning of genocide. Genocide is what you're fighting, you're killing people of a particular race. And Anglophones, we are not a race. So sometimes we use this we can say massacre, not genocide. But at the end of the day, as I say, the government have got a duty. If the government knows they are doing the right thing, they don't need to complain. Once as you are in government, you know how to fight criminals. So it's not about what people say. It's about understanding how to run a country. It's about understanding that your job is to maintain peace, law, and order in a country. That's what is important. Why I condemn those people who are killing people, at the end of the day, it's the job of the government to bring security in the country. You cannot, if you sit like in the UK where I am at the moment, if the Prime Minister comes and be telling us that they are blaming criminals, what they will be saying is that this government is not fit for purpose. This government cannot fight crime. So people will be looking to remove you and bring somebody who can fight crime.
But people are shot and killed. People are shot and killed everywhere. Even in the United States of America, people are shot and killed on the streets, in churches, in nightclubs.
Cameroon is the only country that would like to compare only bad things. The problem is that people are killed in the UK, but I'm safe to walk at night. There's light in my street. I can go anywhere. Yes, people can be killed. Accidents do happen. But are you safe to go and walk the streets of Bamenda or somewhere parts of Southwest? No. In America, people are free to walk the street. You don't take one incident and say in America, what's the population of America? Approximately 300 million. What's the population of Cameroon? So we cannot compare those things. It's like comparing a lizard to a crocodile. We should try to compare and look for good things. In Cameroon, when we see certain things, we have bad roads, we're going to say, there are bad roads too in America or in the Western world. No, that's not true. The majority, 90% of Western world, they have good life, better standard of living for their people.
Okay, Maitre, let's talk about what you discussed with Gwladys. I'm talking about the protest by patients, kidney patients in Buea. And we all know that government subsidizes their session and they pay not even up to half of what they were supposed to pay. Don't you think that the government might run out of cash and they have this issue, this problem?
I think, is it Mr. Atangana said they have given some money. So I don't see, if they have given the money, I don't see how we're going to run out of cash. But at the end of the day, when people are working, you employ people, you have to pay these people. I don't see how sometimes they will say the government have run or will run out of cash, because these people have families. These people need to send their children to school. These people need to pay hospital bills, pay transport. So at no point should a government say that they cannot pay the salary of their workers. I don't know if the government have gone bankrupt, and if the government have gone bankrupt, they should tell us.
No, sometimes back we talked about, there were some speculations about the budget of the country being hijacked by IMF, and you refused and debunked that on this very platform.
It depends on what we were saying at the time, at the moment. It depends, because sometimes I can say certain things based on your question and at the moment, at the time. Now I'm asking the question, I mean, if the government is bankrupt. I'm not saying the government is bankrupt. That's my point.
Ok, Maître Alex, parlons toujours des problèmes du gouvernement camerounais. Alors, on a Camwater qui réclame 10 milliards de francs CFA à l'État de factures impayées.
Camwater, again, when you talk about this institution, I'm very concerned because most of them, they are being run by foreigners, not by the indigenous people of the Cameroons. So I'm very, very concerned. I don't really like to talk about all this neon Camwater because they are run by foreigners, and when they make profit, they take the money back to their countries. So sometimes when you ask me this question about these companies, I'm less interested about them. What I want to see is the nationalization of our water, electricity, so that electricity
Donc, à votre avis, Maître, l'État camerounais ne devrait pas payer ces 10 milliards?
My problem, I don't know the detail of the matter. If the government owe them, I'm sure they have a contract and the government should pay. But what concerns me is that foreigners are running our water company and we still see rusty water. People cannot still get water. People are digging borehole. So what is Camwater doing? Why are they there? What is their purpose? Are they fit for purpose? But they only talk about money in Cameroon without telling us what they are doing. Our people need water. We are in what? How many years today? When I was growing up in Boya, there was water everywhere, but I'm disappointed that we are still talking about water. People are sending me image of rusty water coming from taps in Yaoundé, and I don't understand why that is happening. If the money is to, I don't know if I'm still on because I've seen the video have paused. Okay, I'm on. People are talking about water. Are they taking the water, the money that the government or Camwater wants? Do they want to invest it? I'm not a fan of Camwater because people are still complaining about water. There's still rusty water in Cameroon. If they're taking the money to invest it and make sure that everybody will have water in the Cameroons, that will be great.
Maitre Alex, Le Jour newspaper this morning is bringing to us very shocking revelations about our natural resources, not Le Jour. There's a newspaper that talked about diamond being exploited in Cameroon, and only 5% of what is exploited is traceable. The rest is in the black market.
If you read the constitution of the Cameroon, they say that wealth of the country should be evenly distributed to everyone. And when you see these diamonds, most of us, if you ask Cameroonians, they have never seen diamonds. And most of the companies that they give them are foreign companies. Most of us, it's as if the resources is not our resources. So it is not strange to see these things.
No, but the companies made, they give the contracts to, at least they are registered. So whatever thing they produce have to be recorded. And like I earlier mentioned, Emergence, it is Emergence newspaper that is telling us this morning that everything that is exploited, 95% of the diamonds are untraceable.
Mr. Lasha, let me tell you the truth. Some few people sit in A today, some few people, about 10 of them, then they are controlling the country. The way they are running Cameroon is not the country. That's not how they run the country. So when you go back to diamond, these are few people who are
those 10 people not Cameroonians?
Say it again.
Are those 10 people not Cameroonians?
It doesn't need to be a Cameroonian. I believe when we were being run by the English, we were better off than under Amadou Ahidjo and Biya. Those people were not Cameroonians. I don't know what Mr. Ahidjo and Biya have done. Today I saw some picture in former northern Cameroon, which is Taraba State and Adamawa. They are more developed than Northwest and Southwest. So what have these people done since independent? Being a Cameroonian doesn't mean that, in short, what I would say, most of the Cameroonians who are in government or who are in top office, they are not patriotic. They don't love the country. They are there to destroy the country. They are there to make personal gains. So being a Cameroonian does not entitle you for anything. I will bet you that under the British rule, Northwest and Southwest, they were better.
So, Metro, are you saying that? Mate, are you saying that these 10 individuals they are talking about, they are the ones who have the license to exploit these diamonds, and they are not...
the way they run Cameroon is like in Jangi House. Nothing can go well. The people don't know how they run the Cameroon. The only time what they do in Cameroon, which is 419, they come during election. Oh, you voted for a president. After that, they forget about you Cameroonians. Nobody cares about you. Then in 2025, they will come again and do the scam again election. Then they go and hide again. Today, as I'm speaking at 8:30 in the morning, the new Prime Minister, British Prime Minister, was having a cabinet meeting of appointed people. They are talking about cost of living, electricity, and other things this morning. But Mr. Biya doesn't have the whole cabinet meeting. He's the one who have got the power. You are in government to run a country. Run a country means we saw something that happened in Kumba landslide. We saw water in Limbe and other parts of the Cameroon. Where is Mr. Biya? You should be having an emergency meeting. You run a country in accordance with the crisis that you're facing.
His ministers are there. His ministers are there. His representatives are there in the regions.
Mr. Lasha, if you don't know, if I like most of you in the Cameroons, read in between the line. If you want to appoint a minister, do you appoint a minister to make an equitable balance? Either you come from Northwest or this. No, these people are there. They are window dressing people. Ministers should be about competence. Are you fit to do the job, not where you come from? They will make sure that a minister comes from this particular area. I've given you Atanganji. I've given you Nalova. That's not how you appoint a minister. You look for somebody who is competent. It doesn't matter where you come from. So most of these ministers are just window dressing exercise. The real ministers are in A to D. The people who make decisions. You saw when there was a problem on education. Madame Nalova was there quiet until a presidential degree come. These people are just there to fool us. Oh, there's a Bakureleji there who is a minister. Oh, there's a man from Northwest Atangaji. They don't run the country.
Ok, Maître Alex Gwladys, you have some questions.
Oui, Maître Alex, nous restons toujours dans les minéraux du Cameroun. Toujours le journal Émergence nous révèle ce matin que la société Synode Steel décroche donc son tout premier permis d'exploitation du minéral de fer au Cameroun.
My point is, how does it benefit us? That's my point. There's no need to be exploiting something. How many schools, I don't know if they talk about creating a school. How many schools, technical schools, we have to teach people how to exploit diamond to make sure that we don't export our diamond. That is what is important. We cannot keep on exporting things. These natural resources, they call it natural resources. It doesn't belong to us, Cameroonians. We came on earth, it was there. What technology do we have? How are we defining, reforming our educational system that will have engineers who can be exploiting these diamonds rather than giving most of the percentage to foreigners? That is what is important to me. There's no need to say Cameroon is rich in natural resources, timber, banana, rubber, then we don't benefit from it. What's the point of that? We should reform our education that our own people will be trying to transform these natural resources rather than giving it to foreigners to benefit from it.
Mete, don't you also think that these cooperation ties between Cameroon and other countries, some of these exploitation are often enshrined in those, agreements signed between Cameroon and its close partners?
I just talk about civil disobedience. Civil disobedience, sometimes you refuse to follow laws, demand. So sometimes some laws are bad laws. If there are laws that does not benefit the people of the country, the people should fight and they should protest and they should make sure that they fight the government by non-violent means to stop these bad laws. Because something is in law. Law is not for dead people, it's for people who are living. Because there was a law in 1900, it doesn't mean that the law must remain there. They keep on changing law. And most laws in Cameroon should be changed by now. Okay. And somebody is just making your comment that I did not about my definition about genocide. I did not define genocide. Genocide is simple, deliberately killing a people of an ethnic group or race. And I'm telling that person who is making that comment, you can check the legal definition. Genocide, we in Southern Cameroon, we are not a race, or we are not the same ethnicity, we are different. So you cannot associate genocide on that. So I'm just answering a comment for somebody who is making a comment.
Ok, maître Alex, allons un peu hors du Cameroun. Le journal Le Messager nous révèle ce matin que le ministre des Mines et des Hydrocarbures équato-guinéen est accusé d'imposture.
He's accused of what?
D'imposture.
What's that?
It means he was not supposed to be a minister, or maybe as the document he presented are fake documents.
Oh, you're saying that he's posting himself?
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. I don't have detail of that. But however, I'll tell you that in Cameroon, there's a minister who is using his name. That is not his name. And it's a fact in Cameroon, a top minister. His name is not his name. So we should try to clean our house before we start going out of our country.
If he's one of the twins, why would he not use the name of his brother?
He's using his brother's name. It's a fact. I've done my research. It's not his name, and I know people went to school with them. We have a minister who is not using his name. He's using his brother's name.
Alex, in the Western world, it is what you can do, not the certificate that you have. But we are seeing the fruits of what the minister is doing, which you don't want to
be
call
honest,
the name.
Africa, everything is possible in Africa. So I'm not surprised sometimes when you say anything. Cameroon is not different from most other African countries, because sometimes when people are your friends, they can do anything and you cover them up. That's what happens in Cameroon. Where if you go to real democracies, it cannot happen. Even if they discover it, they will sanction you or they will fire you.
Okay. We are gradually coming to the end of the program today. Let's talk back to school in the west region of the country, where Governor Awafonka Augustine is very serious when it comes to security measures at the level of schools in the west region. In Kunki division, during the official hoisting of flag hoisting to mark the start of that academic year, or this academic year, Awafonka Augustine prescribed certain measures when it comes to allowing children to get into the school campus. We've often had, situations where children either kill their teachers or their peers.
My concern is that if you look at the country that we grew up in, we should be asking what is happening today, what has changed, and we should be looking forward to address these things. Because we cannot just sit and talk. They say action speaks louder than words. For the last 6 years, we have been hearing these unelected governors. They talk about security. But the problem, sometimes you have to go the causes of this problem. It's not just about using words, because they have been talking about it. The next minute we'll say an incident will happen somewhere. Not long ago, Betty Asomo and Tanganji and Zimbabwe Board of National Security, they were talking about everything is okay. They have put measures, people should go to school. Just, is it yesterday or a couple of days, we have been seeing people are being killed because of school. So sometimes these people, they should engage with the society, work with the people, and try to understand why people are annoyed. Why are people killing each other? Is it because of tramadol? How does it get inside our country? So people should look at those things. Those are the important things to look at. It's not just about talk. When we talk, we must walk the talk.
Ok, Maître Alex, parlons à présent de la SONACAM. L'affaire de d'épurement d'aéré des droits d'auteur fait donc